story I'm going to tell you, you're not going to believe. But every word of it is true. I know because it happened to me. But enough about me. You really don't have time for that. And by we, I mean me, Dick Piston, hotel detective. It was a Friday night in the big city, and on a Friday night, you'll find me making my rounds at the Lakeview Hotel, a two-bit armpit on the upside of downtown. Anytime before midnight, that is. After midnight, you'll catch me drowning my proverbial sorrows at the five-star dive bar in the lobby of that hotel. But at 10 minutes to midnight, I'm always here in my office, watching the clock. And that's why at 10 minutes to midnight, I had my proverbial eyes glued to the literal clock. Because when that strikes 12, my Friday night nightmares become somebody else's Saturday morning problems. So, if my luck holds true.
Dick Piston! I need you.
Lady Luck, you could set your watch by her.
I need your help.
Well, I'm afraid I'm not the man you're looking for.
You're not Dick Piston?
No, I'm not helpful.
But you are the hotel detective.
For 9 more minutes I am, and there's not going to be a 10th, so I'm afraid if your case is any less time-consuming than a stuck pickle jar, I'm going to have to refer you to my day shift.
But you have to help me. I'm the victim of a crime.
Unless that crime is unnecessary wetness.
Not unnecessary wetness.
Are you sure? Because I have a blow dryer in my desk.
You can't just turn your back on me.
No, in that outfit, I'm afraid I could do no such thing.
Then you'll help me?
For 8 more minutes, I will.
Will that be enough?
What's your case, ma'am? Tell me the crime.
I think they call it murder.
And you're the victim.
Yes, it just happened now in my hotel room.
Do you know what murder is, ma'am?
I think it's the one where somebody kills someone, right?
That's the one.
Yes.
All right. Listen, I'm going to take your little case here, but I'm going to set this little timer. And when this little timer goes ding ding, case closed. Do you understand?
Oh, I can't tell you how grateful I am for this.
Well, coming here in that outfit is thanks enough.
You're welcome.
Now, if you have a seat, I have an extremely important phone call I need to make.
But aren't you going to rush up to my hotel room and examine the scene of crime?
Ordinarily I would, but we're extremely short on time. Yes. Front desk. Hotel detective. Dick Piston. Put me through to the kitchen.
What are you doing?
I'm ordering room service.
Will that speed up the investigation?
Not at all.
Then why are you doing it?
Because no man in his right mind would ever be alone in a room with a woman in a towel without at least a half order of oysters and champagne on the way. Of the honeymoon special. Send it to my room pronto. And bring a box of condoms.
Oh, how can I repay you?
The condoms are on their way.
Listen, I'm a married woman.
You can never repay me.
And how did you know this was our honeymoon?
Sit down and tell me about your case. If we get this over with quick enough, I'll still have time to Xerox some of these damn files.
Well, I was up in my room taking a shower before dinner.
So you haven't eaten?
No, not yet. But boy, those oysters do sound delicious.
So the murder took place in the bathroom, I assume?
No, it was in the bedroom.
After the shower?
No, it was during.
So you were shot in the shower by a killer who was in the bedroom?
What makes you think I was shot?
Because if you were stabbed, you would have been in the same room as the killer.
My gosh, you think he was in the shower with me?
No, I think you were shot.
But I wasn't shot. Look.
Or stabbed, for that matter. But it seems as though you've had a close shaving of some kind.
No, that's waxing.
Well, ma'am, seeing as though you were not harmed in any way,
Have you ever been waxed?
what makes you think you were murdered?
Oh, I wasn't murdered.
You just said you were murdered.
No, I said I was a victim of a crime.
And the crime was murder.
Oh, well done, Mr. Piston, with your keen eye for detail. We'll have this case sewn up in no time.
If the crime was murder, and you're the victim, why the hell are you here?
Well, I had to report it, didn't I? After all, he was my husband.
The killer.
No, the killery.
So your husband was murdered.
In our room. He was shot in the head. On our bed.
And that's how you were dressed when you found the body?
Yes. I had just stepped into the shower, Mr. Piston, where I was nude. Can you imagine? When I heard what sounded like gunshots and blood-curdling screams, naturally I finished my shower, put on some makeup, and rushed into the bedroom to steal the letter. That's when I found him lying there on the bed with the slug in his head.
Were there any signs of forced entry?
Well, he'd been dropping hints all weekend, so I was hoping.
The room, man. For God's sakes, the room.
Oh, no. Everything seemed perfectly normal, except for that horrible dead guy lying there.
Your husband.
Yes, that was his name.
And he's horrible.
Yes, brains everywhere.
Well, Mrs. Guy, normally this is the moment in the case where I would rush up to your room to examine the body. But seeing as though we're short on time, I'm going to cut to the chase. Come in. There's your killer.
Oh, my. But how could you possibly know that?
Was your husband clinically insane?
No.
Well, then
not
that's how I
really.
know.
I don't understand.
And there's no time to explain. Actually, there's 4 minutes, so allow me to explain. There's no signs of forced entry, which means your husband had to have let the killer in the room himself. Moreover, been expecting him. A bellboy, for example.
But why would he be expecting a bellboy?
Because your husband was not clinically insane. And since no man in his right mind would ever be alone in a room with a woman in a towel without at least a half order oysters and champagne on the way, I think we know your husband ordered room service.
It makes sense.
And as you've witnessed, the service at this hotel is incredibly prompt.
Yes, and I'm impressed. We gotta make sure and leave him a big tip.
So your husband ordered room service, yet you haven't eaten.
Because there wasn't any food.
Exactly. Since there's no edibles in evidence, we could assume that the killer removed the edibles from the scene of the crime to conceal the fact that he came from the kitchen.
I don't know why I didn't see it before.
And after murdering your husband in cold blood, the night shift bellhop removed the oysters, removed the champagne, thus confirming his guilt.
But why would this bellhop want to kill my husband?
Because unbeknownst to your late husband, he was having an affair with the wife.
You're married?
With you. He was having the affair with you.
But how could you possibly know that?
Because you still haven't asked me the one question that any widow would in this circumstance. Why would the night shift bellhop want to murder my husband?
But I did ask.
You did when?
Just a second ago. It was practically the first thing that popped into my mind.
Well, I feel like a complete idiot.
You really haven't been paying much attention to anything I've said, have you, Mr.
For
Piston?
God's sakes, woman, you're wearing nothing but a towel.
That's no reason to accuse me of being an adulteress. I'm worse yet, an accomplice to murder.
You make a valid point, and I apologize.
Shame about the bellboy, though.
Yeah, about the bellboy. My boss will have my proverbial head if she knows I killed yet another innocent bystander. I think we could both agree that this was self-inflicted.
He did look suicidal the moment he walked in here.
Aha!
Oh,
A likely story.
but that's your story.
And it may be my story, but as I'm sitting there, I wonder to myself, what widow in her right mind would ever attempt to conceal the murder of a man who murdered her husband unless she too was involved?
But
God
that could
damn.
only mean two things.
No, man, that could only mean one thing.
I think you're forgetting one possibility, Mr. Piston.
And what's that?
That the widow is not, in fact, in her right mind.
Well, this is embarrassing. Definitely for the both of us. Seems as though I screwed up again. Well, the time is almost up and I think you should go.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Piston. How can I ever repay you? You may not have solved my husband's murder, but at least I'm up all charges. I mean, how can I thank you?
Well, there's oysters and champagne, and I'm off in 2 minutes.
Oh, I think we can get you off before that.